Well, let me narrate a story to you of this IT professional who consulted me in Pune at Jahangir Hospital. She was a very high flying professional, totally dedicated to her work, and she was very, very busy. She would get assignments abroad and was traveling abroad frequently. Because of these career positions and objectives, she delayed her pregnancy for initial 4 years after marriage. By the time she was 33-year-old and the family pressures were started building up, and in her own sense she thought that this is the right time to go for a baby. She thought she will opt for the best and she was convinced to go for an IVF treatment, and she took IVF treatment. And sadly, probably when she didn't know when she entered an IVF treatment that her baseline treatments have not been done at all. She just entered an IVF because it has a high success rate, and there's a fashion that spending good amount of money gives you a good amount of returns. And when she went through the whole therapy for unexplained infertility, for directly going to IVF, and she was convinced that she was persuaded that it is like one and done, like do one IVF cycle and you will have multiple embryos, you transfer one after the other, and probably you will achieve your pregnancy much faster. She was convinced and went ahead, but sadly she did not conceive even after 2 embryo transfer cycles in the first IVF cycle. She went for another 2 IVF cycles and it just didn't work. So after 5 embryo transfer cycles of 3 IVF stimulations, she was utterly depressed. Her objective of life had changed. She had become a lady with irritation, unruly behavior, some marital disharmonies, bit of depression. She had gained about 6 kg of weight, and she had no more objectives of a high flying profession, but she was much distressed and was seeking a pregnancy urgently, and she was questioning herself and was also convinced by a few IVF centers that you can go for an egg donation program, and which was willing. When she consulted us, I said, please don't worry and take the thought of having an egg donation completely out of your head. Going through an IVF cycle, and if you fail, doesn't mean your chance of pregnancy is absolutely nil the next time. We just have to put the processes together, have a scientific evidence collected about you. How is your endometrium, how is your lining, and how is your embryo? And we optimize on that ground, and probably your success will be very high. When I looked at the files, I said, well, you're not taken any smaller treatments. You just went for IVF. Would you be interested in taking smaller treatments? Because they will cost you much lesser, and you never know, you will achieve pregnancy. And let's go very scientifically, because your ovarian reserve is still very good. And just because you failed 4 times doesn't mean anything from your prognosis point of view. And we took her for a controlled ovarian stimulation using Gonal-F, and we gave about 150 IU of Gonal-F. I needed to go about 7 injections to her, and she beautifully responded with 3 follicles. And we gave an apt trigger in the night, and after 36 hours or 40 hours we did an IUI using a density gradient method, and believe me, she conceived twins. So my take home to you is, when you enter IVF, have you looked into what are the choices? So typically at Jahangir Hospital we would be giving a cafeteria approach to them, wherein they can pick and select what kind of therapy is really necessary for them, and they would be told about the kind of therapy, the processes, the costs involved, and the success rate, and they can really plan their fertility treatment properly, and the success is much faster. So even if you've had failures of multiple IVF, don't worry, success can still get you there. Thank you.